is well known that the Black Beauty is one of the most recorded drums in history. In this video, I'll recap the evolution of this model and then highlight a drum that's very special to me because it was a gift from my father in 1981. What we call the Ludwig Black Beauty today was introduced in 1919 as a brass shell with black nickel plating. It was originally called the Inspiration model. In 1923, Ludwig started to hand engrave these drums and rebranded them the Ludwig Deluxe model. They consisted of a top and bottom sponge shell welded together in the interior at the center where the bead is located. This is the model that attracted a lot of attention of players at that time. By 1930, William F. Ludwig had sold the company to instrument manufacturer C.G. Kahn, but stayed on for a time until he left in 1937 to start WFL Drums. Upon his departure, C.G. Kahn scaled back the production of the Ludwig Deluxe model, eventually discontinuing it at the start of World War II, when metals were scarce and needed to fight the war. Although the drum was largely out of production at this point, there were still many out there and being sought after by established orchestral and jazz musicians. It's in this post-production period that the drum started being referred to by its aesthetic appearance rather than by its official catalog name. It wasn't long before Ludwig adopted the name Black Beauty as well, despite the fact that their competitor, Slingerland, had a similar drum on the market by the same name. The Ludwig family bought the company back in 1955, but it wasn't until 1976 that they brought back the Black Beauty. This time it was produced officially under its name. However, it would be a short run from 1976 to 1981. This series also included sponge shells, but this time they would be seamless rather than welded, using the same format that they had developed in the early 60s with their other successful metal lines, including the aluminum Superphonic. The spinning process uses heat, friction, and hand tools to spin the metal into the desired shape. This is an example of what that process looks like. This was said to create variations in the shells, and not all drums sounded exactly the same. The asking prices of these drums on the used market for all the periods up through 1981 can be quite high, running into the thousands of dollars. If you do a quick search on eBay or Reverb, you'll see what I mean. This drum is from 1980 or 1981. It has a blue and olive badge, a seamless brass shell with a highly recognizable center bead, and imperial lugs, which were a design from the 1930s. The throw-off is a super sensitive model P70, rather than the alternative P85 from that period. This style of throw-off was originally produced for a few years in the late 20s and brought back again after Ludwig was purchased back from C.G. Kahn. The super sensitive strainer works by raising and lowering the snare wires parallel to the drum so that it applies an even amount of pressure on the head, which reduces choking. The wires stretch beyond the diameter of the drum itself, allowing for sensitivity to the edges of the drum. You can also adjust the snare tension on each side separately using the dials located on the end. By comparison, a standard strainer operates like a door hinge, with one side fixed and the other side moving up and down and releasing the snare wires from the head. The wires also fall short of reaching the edges of the drum. After 1981, the Ludwig Company was sold again, this time to the Selmer Company, who brought back the Black Beauty for a 1988 to a 1991 run. Again using the sponge shell process, but this time they would introduce a bronze version in addition to the traditional brass. These drums were brought back again in the 2000s. This time the manufacturing switched to a deep drawn process. This is where you heat up a flat sheet and press it into consecutive cavities, each one deeper than the last, until you get it into the shape that you want. The process eventually changed to the hydroforming process, where they use a large hydraulic machine to press a blank sheet into the desired shape in one shot. Ludwig claims that this new process is not only quicker, but also produces a more consistent shell than the previous methods. Currently, Ludwig is owned by the Selmer Company and produces drums out of Monroe, North Carolina. Well, that'll do it for this one, and thanks for watching.